This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everyone, welcome back. Before we get started with the session today, we have a little someone as a guest star with us today. Penny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Penny, she, her, and I'm playing Quoth the Raven.
I can only assume that you're going to make your way to Quoth immediately for out-of-character reasons, as well as in-character.
Yeah, something like that. We spent like the full day searching Foundling Creed, right? So it's getting into like nighttime now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it took a while to get everything squared away in regards to like making sure that things were definitely not there. It is very much the evening at this point. There is the spot pretty nearby. The exact nature of finding Quoth you don't know, but like he has always been very accurate with his information. I mean, it's what he does, so you can only assume that if you just banter about this part of town a little bit, with a little bit of caution, of course, considering that it's pretty gnarly gang war going on right now, you will probably run into her sooner or later.
Part of Vex literally just wants to have like a note and just shouting, has anybody seen a dredge? Anyone? It's just explosions are going on around her, but she will probably do things a little bit more secretly, yes.
Yeah. I think I'm not gonna like belabor the point. I think after a while you've got your head on a swivel, and it's by no means anything like when you were in the contested zone in the Northwest. That place was very much a keep aware or you could just get like sniped. And sure enough, that was a place where you ended up losing a piece of your brain temporarily. So that was not pleasant, and there is always the possibility, because you're thinking about the part of the city that this lies at, which is right next to the neutral zone. Very much like what the contested zone in the Northwest is. If things go poorly here, oh, it would suck if there was another contested zone really close to your apartment even. That would kind of be shit-ass doo-doo, to be honest.
It's shit-ass doo-doo every day here.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in Hope's Rise, you know? Is just shit-ass doo-doo.
Is it too late to change the name of the show at this point, do you think?
Dude, did you see the latest episode of Shit-ass Doo-doo? It was crazy. Keep that in. We're keeping that in. You basically just spend some time hunting around this area. He gave you very distinct instructions in terms of, oh, you'll know you're at the place when you start noticing that like the business the businesses start tapering off and it starts primarily being residential. Apparently there is a specific vibe to this particular part of the city, in that they essentially kind of built most of this section, or most of the stuff that's been built on top of this section was done relatively at the same time, and so you can actually tangibly feel as you start to move around this area that the quality of the light changes as you realize that a lot more fluorescent bulbs, I think that's the right term, like the more like orange toned bulbs. I don't know if that's fluorescent. I think that might actually be something else. Tungsten. Like tungsten lamps. It feels a lot more like warm, but in ways that's a little unsettling from time to time. And you are kind of just wandering, and you're noting that there is a couple of moments where you hear like gunfire or yelling out in the distance. You walk past a couple of apartments and hear people inside kind of just like, you know, living their lives. And there's this one point where you kind of round a corner and you get to one of these horizontal knock-throughs, which brings like two apartments together. And you note something very interesting about this one. Most knock-throughs that create this horizontal like nature to even the highest reaches of the city will make an effort to ensure that like there's two walls next to each other, which will provide like maybe at most a few inches of gap that would that, you know, isn't dangerous, isn't something that you can fall off. But as you push through this one, you realize that you're standing on this like rebar concrete bridge that's been added. And on either side of you, you get the vibe of that dream again. The looking off to the top and to the bottom on either edge of this, and just being unclear on where the bottom is. There's this gap between the buildings that's like totally vertical, and you see like, you know, various like vents and stuff and fans and all of that kind of a thing. But ultimately, not the kind of thing that you would be able to comfortably traverse, and you would probably hurt yourself pretty badly if you ended up tumbling over one of this bridge's edges. And it's as you're kind of like, whoa, as you're looking at this and looking up into the inexplicable darkness to the above you as well, that you start hearing some kind of movement coming from the darkness below you. And you wait a few moments, and I'll ask you, do you take cover? What's your reaction to hearing that there is seemingly something in this vertical, like, dark hole, essentially?
Her first reflex is usually to keep to the shadows, and here is no different. She's been trying to mostly stay out of sight thus far and get away of the land at least, so she would retreat away from the gap and off to an unseen corner. You step off to the side. There's actually a on the other building, like on the other end of the bridge, you see that there is indeed a little area, a little lip from this knock-through where you can quite literally just dip into a little triangle of shadow that these orange lights are kind of casting. And you see and you hear as whatever it is in this pit starts to get closer and louder, and eventually you see a silhouette start to emerge from the darkness. Penny, could you please describe your character for us?
Rising up from the darkness, accompanied by the sound of metal scraping across concrete, Vex would see what they might presume is a woman wearing a large, wide-brimmed hat, and the two most notable things that she might see would be a metal bird-like mask covering their face with red-tinted lenses in place of eyes, and a, for lack of a better word, contraption that is attached to their entire torso, formed into metal, spindly legs that climb through the darkness.
You watch as this striking silhouette kind of leans into the orange light a little bit. You realize that she's come to a halt, as apparently this appears to be, as Ephori said, the floor that is her destination. The legs are that are like kind of coming from her back, from her ribs, like just generally emerging from her, occasionally like organizing in a way that does appear sometimes wing-like, but nonetheless, you see as she kind of like gently alights onto the same bridge that you were on moments ago. Quoth, can you give me a roll, and if you have anything that you feel would benefit your perception, whether that be hearing or sight, do say so and you may get a bonus.
Yeah. I don't know if she has anything that I would say mechanically benefits that, but I'd like to think that she has very good hearing at the very minimum.
Yeah, I mean, between the nature of your mask and just you kind of being a pursuit, a pursuit type enemy, I suppose. You are used to looking and searching around for people, and give yourself a +2 to this. You need to beat a 6.
No.
Oh boy. You land on the bridge, and you kind of just see ahead of you there is the building that you have been informed by Ephori is the locale of your target.
She turns her head, almost darts it towards where she needs to go, and starts slowly, just skulking would be the correct word. Starts slowly skulking towards the building. And as she's nearing, her destination, she starts to very quietly say something to herself.
I think Vex is close enough that she can make it out. What is Quoth saying?
There is quiet in the places created by the Four. Lady Darkness prowls the halls with ruthlessness. Her hands twofold, yet reach endless with no soul safe, pardoning within light.
Yeah, so... Vex, I have to assume that even if Vex hasn't seen Quoth personally before in any, dredge gatherings that they've had, Ephori probably would have mentioned, oh, you'll recognize her by the 10,000 legs, or, something like that,
right? So I think he gave you, he gave you a basic description, and bird mask, cat, mechanical legs, absolutely fits the bill. He didn't mention anything about poetry, but hey, you've caught her in a personal moment. You can't, you've probably had moments like this too.
Vex is, she's used to this. She, after Quoth passes by, she would stand up, and follow behind her for a few moments. As soon as they pass near a wall or something metallic in nature, Vex would quietly extend one of her scythe blades and just rhythmically tap it 3 times against the metal surface to alert Quoth to her presence.
Quoth, you hear tink 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 behind you.
Barely moving her, torso, lower body, her head just twists and turns to face the noise.
Lady Darkness prowls the halls created by men, unknown and unseen, yet their presence is felt in the air breathed and roads walked.
Hey, I'm Vex, fellow dredge. Don't know if we've, properly met before. Long story short, FRI sent me to help you out on whatever this job is you're doing. Give a little backup. It's a dangerous territory, so...
There is an unfortunate pause.
That's a great word to use for that. Holy shit.
As Quoth seems to process this.
The cat.
Yep. So that's why I'm here if you, want some assistance.
She, not moving from where she is standing, perhaps a, maybe not considerable, but uncomfortable distance away, bows.
Quoth, the Raven. You are Vex, yes, I've heard of you. Lots of noise you've made recently.
Yeah. Bit of a big thing at the tower.
Such beautiful blue butterflies there were. Well, it is always fun to travel as a murder.
What? Oh, of, crows?
She turns around and starts walking. You get the feeling that she's accepting your help.
Vex wanders behind at a, relative distance.
What a strange individual, but nonetheless it seems that you are together for this time. It's as you're walking that you kind of recall to yourself the times that you have met other dredges in the past. It's been more than ever lately that you've actually started to really understand your fellow dredge, and you imagine it is in large part due to you being out of your little, test period. But even before then, there wasn't any kind of, big meeting to welcome in the newbie. That's not how the dredge roll. It's especially not something Brimstone would ever do. But Brimstone gave you the rundown of here is the names, here is what their specialties generally kind of are. And there was, as mentioned before with Hyde and Ashera, there was times where you got to meet the others. Quoth and Lotus have notably been pretty absent from the 1 or 2 meetings that you've managed. They have kind of been a bit of an enigma, and this just puts a much finer point on why. But it's as the two of you are walking through these kind of orange bathed hallways that the silence kind of starts to give way to, either conversation or just listening, hearing the world around you. Would either of you bring anything up in this moment, or would you just kind of go to your business of stalking and listening? I'm curious.
I think Vex would at least ask, like, at some point in a quiet moment, just bring up, like, anything I should know about, who we're tracking, who we're looking for.
Our prey today, like lightning, is Rye. They dwell and hear a little too well. So, I've been called to take them to where they need to go.
Well, I guess you'll know them when we see them.
They are a little bat, a little too slippery.
Like literally or metaphorically?
She stops, turns to Vex, and then, with her hands, which notably she is wearing gloves that are sharpened with metal, makes with her fingers, tries to imitate bat ears.
Right. Okay.
My ass just went. You are just fully doing the caramel dancing pose right
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you note that you may very well be looking for somebody with a mutation in that regard. The talon-like sharpened metal of her claws looking far too familiar in regards to their capability, and you can't help but be reminded of Elizabeth for a moment. As much as she kind of just got chumped last time you met her, you're glad that these claws are ones you're working with this time. And it is in due time that the two of you are kind of wandering, and it being night, you don't hear a lot going on until you kind of like mosey around into another corner, and you realize that at this point of the building there's naught to do but like go down, basically. There is a staircase, and as you start to kind of like casually find your way down it, you hear the sounds of combat in the distance, kind of choked by the concrete, just lightly being a presence that reminds you that this place is not safe at this moment. And it's as you descend. Can you both give me a D10 roll? And Penny, could you add +2 in the same way as you did before for Quoth?
Yeah. I would like to note that as soon as they had to go down in any way, even though there were stairs, she's climbing on the walls.
Yeah. No step was touched.
No.
By regular feet. Yeah. Ooh.
Wow. Day and
The
night there.
dichotomy, yeah.
It's day and night.
a 1 and a 10. Fantastic. So, that actually goes up to a 12 even, as you, Vex, all of a sudden are like kind of taken aback by how there is this sudden change in like demeanor from Quoth when you realize that like, oh, something's up, right? Quoth, it's not even it's not a voluntary response, it's instinctual. You kind of just like sense before you see or hear anything that like you're closing in on where you need to be. And you kind of take that moment to recognize you need to stop making sound, as you kind of just like plant yourself very lightly around the corner and just like, you don't lean your head around. You know that's a dead giveaway, especially with your mask. You look to one of the doors of one of the apartments on this level, which has that typical gloss paint that so many people use in this city. And there is this warbling silhouette of a reflection in that gloss paint. And it's not certain. And it's most certainly not clear. But, like, you see that darkened blob on either side of this reflection's head. And you don't need to confirm. You just know who's around the corner down this hallway. What do? You haven't given away your position thanks to that 10.
She looks to Vex and sort of very quietly says a single word. Alive. And she's just going to, as quickly as possible, just climb up a little higher on the wall, and just from her arms shoot out wires to grab the shadow.
Ooh, alright, let me bring us to a battle map in that case, and let's get this song on. Hey gang, welcome to the break. Please excuse how I sound, I am currently sick, so we'll be keeping this somewhat brief, but let's get into it, why don't we? First of all, excuse this being a little earlier in the episode than usual. It's just, as per the usual, I try to split things up so that combats are on one side of a break, and roleplays on the other, if possible, and it just worked out a little earlier this time around. But if you are enjoying Heart of Hope and you would like to support the show and you would like to also get a hold of an episode ahead of time, then you can do so over on my Patreon at patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. For as little as $1 a month, you can get the next episode of Heart of Hope right now, and you'll be helping me out at the same time. You can even send extra amount. You can send more money if you want to be extra generous and just be super cool and awesome. But even that small amount of $1 is going to still get you that episode ahead of time every week. So I would really love if you would consider helping out. And if you can only do it on a one-time basis, then I do have a Ko-Fi where you can do it instead, which is at the same @ of eternal_savvy. And if you want to know where that money is going, we are using that money to commission human artists, whether it be for art, in the case of the logo and title that is used for Heart of Hope, or more currently for composers and music that was unique to Heart of Hope. And, you know, any amount that you send will contribute to having more and more unique music in this show. So you will actively be making this better, as well as just supporting me in continuing to make stuff like this. Also, if you would like more stuff from me, then I stream over on twitch.tv/eternal_savvy. I stream stuff like art, video games, and tabletop as well. We do have one in the works that will be a live streamed game, as opposed to the more edited one that you are listening to right now. And if you are one of the wonderful people who has been sending in fan art, then you can tag me with that fan art over on Blue Sky, where, again, surprising no one, I'm eternal_savvy. You can use the hashtag Heart of Hope as well to help me find it. And we'll put it on the carousel as you're seeing on screen if you're on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, if you're listening to it on YouTube, then please consider liking and subscribing and commenting onto the video, because it does a huge help for discoverability and to get people aware of what is going on here. And if you're on the RSS feeds, then rating it is super helpful as well. It really helps out, and I appreciate it. And last of all, a special thank you to the 2 people who provided some prompts for some characters in this episode. Thank you so much to the anonymous contributor for Rai, and Macro for Pietro. thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and let's get back to the episode. Why not? See you next time. Bye-bye. So, Vex, you are going to be starting up here in Elysium. Quoth, thanks to you getting that 10, I am going to allow you to start in the same area.
Oh no.
As...
That's not good for them.
Our friends. First off, let me place Rye. Let me place this person on initiative.
Oh boy. Higher than me is concerning, yeah.
Yeah, genuinely hard to do. So here's what happens. Here's the deal, right? Combat has begun. There is one of two ways that this can resolve. Either you can successfully, if you can successfully move this person into Elysium, then you will be able to successfully abduct and kidnap them if you then basically like use an action to remove them from the map alongside yourself, essentially. That is like one way to end. The other way to end is if you successfully remove any of their movement options. If you can get rid of their like any of their parts that allow them to use move, I will consider it a victory because they will no longer have a method by which to escape you. And that is basically what you're aiming for. With that said, Quoth, you round the corner and you kind of sling out the wire from your arm, and to your dismay, you kind of move into this area, which I will note I am giving you as like a free rapid action as like the bonus here. But to your dismay, you see that like it wasn't even like a split second. By the time that you had like finished registering this person in front of you, they had already like finished reacting to your arrival. It is that is a level of like on edge or like taut nerves that is but definitely somehow enhanced. And Vex, you at this point like managed to kind of finish like hurriedly getting down the rest of the staircase in order to get a glimpse of this person. You see that they have this kind of this masculine appearance to them, this masculine build, and she's got this short cropped hair, which appears to have been like given these like red highlights in a few places, and is very like surprisingly slight in their like features. They are still quite broad, but like it's this very like sharp looking individual is the best way to put it. And you see these two big bat ears on either side of their head, which have twitched and like are facing the both of you. And you also register that, oh boy, there is most likely a reason why, there is a number of reasons why they have been hard to catch, and one of them is the fact that sprouting from their hips are these very powerful but like lithe-looking animal legs, which are like ready to pounce into action as we begin initiative. And it is against all odds, it is this person's turn first. They have 13 AP, which is ahead of even Vex. This is something you're not used to, Vex. You have always been, like, one of your greatest strengths has always been that you are, like, the quickest to the punch. And Yeah, and like your speed is something that people like talk about. The fact that like you can all of a sudden be acting before anyone can even like begin to think about doing something, and you watch as this person, you get that glimpse of them, and they start tearing off into the distance. They are going to be using their animal legs, ha-cha-cha, which I believe, I'll double check. Yes, 2 cost to move 1 or 2 squares. Unsurprisingly, they will be moving 2.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, that is really...
Yup.
That's really bad, yeah.
I'm gonna make a quick roll here.
You got any of those hinder move 1, Penny?
Well, wouldn't you know it?
Before we do anything, could the 2 of you please make me a d10 roll? These are just going to be a +1 for you, Quoth, but Iris... Oh, well, Vex gets a 5, so never mind. Quoth, you have a +1.
Wow.
Okay, never mind. You watch as they spring into action, and they are going to move here and then here, unless somebody does something about it.
Yeah. As they start moving, 2 thicker, sort of almost tendrils as opposed to legs, come from Quoth's back in an attempt to grab. I'm gonna use Mecha Tentacle to hinder move 1.
Alright, in which case, yeah, you don't have to roll, you just spend the AP. How much does that cost you?
Yep, that's it's 1, and that just moves me down on the tracker, right?
It does, yes, that's correct. Yeah, so you round the corner, your like mechanical legs kind of like suspending you from the ceiling essentially, and you like have this wire like ready to go. But you don't even have time to aim it. You watch as they just like suddenly leap, bound, hop, skip, and a jump down like the hallway, and you see as they are basically like gunning to throw themselves against the wall and then do like a spring off of the vertical wall to finish the corner, around into what appears to be what may be an apartment. What takes place as you slow them down?
Yeah, as the metallic tendrils sort of come out from Quoth's back as they're bounding past her, as they parkour onto the wall and are about to spring away, she grabs their leg for just enough time. You know, I imagine they're not literally, but slippery, you know, escape artist style. But so, you know, not enough to stop them from fully getting away, but enough to slow their momentum so that they can begin chase.
Yeah, you manage to... It's frustrating that you don't manage to, like, find purchase enough to, like, grab them completely. But nonetheless, you know what momentum is like for people, and this is the kind of thing where, like, you think about point A to point B, and an interruption absolutely throws you off. They are going for that spring against the wall, as I described, but that just, like, sends them instead, like, skidding against the floor as their back kind of, like, hits the corner. And they look to you, and there is this moment as you watch their, like, veins suddenly bulge and start to, like, creep up their neck. And this, and you watch as, like, a nosebleed all of a sudden, all at once, starts to, like, pour out of their nose, seemingly by their own volition, as you hear, and even you hear this, Vex, the sound of, like, a dull, distant heartbeat inside of their chest as it starts to pump with intense power. Vex, it's your count.
Vex does not have the absurd speed or enhanced reaction time of this individual, but she still reacts quickly enough to Quoth's simple statement, "I'm alive," before rounding the corner to to cognize just how fast this person is. And the moment they are grabbed and held for even a moment, Vex has rounded the corner, cocking her shotgun like one-handed with like, you know, jerking her hand up and down to cock it, and she then immediately holding one arm out to balance it, she just sets the rifle down against her arm, aims and pulls the trigger instantly before this person can wriggle free.
Your long ass fucking huge pistol. Go ahead and make that roll.
Oh, damn.
Can anyone do anything about that?
No, I can't help with this. Support, I would have to be in the same zone, and to move, I would cost me a lot.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna have to do is re-roll this by spending a bloodthirst.
You get a free reroll, don't forget. You don't have to do the... once per battle, you do get a free reroll thanks to your heart.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'll use that then. Why not? Oh, yes, that's what we like to see. There we go.
Now, I will point out that as a 6, they are going to get to pick. But if you support that by 1, it will target the legs, which could be very beneficial to you.
I absolutely will support 1. That literally using her forearm to further support the barrel while firing this shotgun at much longer than, you know, its usual effective range. She extends it a little further out to try to make up the difference.
You, sure enough, with the help of you actually doing like rifle style bracing with your arm, getting that extra range as you mentioned as well, you steady your aim enough and you anticipate what's going on. You can sense that you are like off kilter for a moment, and you just take like the extra single half of a second to just be like readjust, and then you pull the trigger. And that is 3 damage, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. You watch as the shot rings out. There is the thunderous boom of this high caliber, insanely huge pistol. And you watch as it just tears a hole through, like, the thigh of one of their legs, as you hear them like this yelp just like inadvertently come from them, and they like take a second as the leg kind of like recoils, and you see that you have definitely managed to like just fuck that leg in a huge way. You can see though, unfortunately, in a brief as it takes a second, they stretch their leg out and gingerly like test it to see if they can manage to put weight on it. And there is this like deluge of blood that just is like forced out of the muscle of the thigh, as they manage to like seemingly with great pain support their weight once again. You have destroyed all but one part at that location.
Oh,
all right. Well, that costs me 3, so I'm down here.
And your support costs 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes, that is true. Yep.
It is their turn again. And they are once again going to do a 1-2 cost in order to... You see them, like, alight onto their feet, and instead of, like, the lightweight and, like, very... almost as if, like, they weighed very little. That was, like, how powerful that kind of force was in the within the muscle of their legs. Instead, you see this, like, almost like an injured deer that tests its weight on one of its legs, realizes that one's not working, and then, like, hops a few times, bounds on the other one, and then uses it as just, like, a full, like, spring, essentially, and is going to go 1, 2. You do note, by the way, we have this little icon here which relates to the room it is next to. So while you are in limbo, flickering lights is in effect. Every round, I am going to roll a d10, or every time like the count comes up, I'll roll a d10, and we'll see if the lights are on or off in this section. So here is the D10. The lights are on. They do not flicker off, but you watch as the bulbs just kind of like ding, 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 as you realize that like that area could be plunged into darkness at any moment, and it will be a lot more difficult to move through or target anything in there.
Am I allowed to respond to them moving with rapid?
You can.
I would love to do that.
Go for it.
This is going to be expensive, but useful, potentially. Because as they are, clearly about to move, Quoth, well, I have a question. Was my wire reel a pre-combat thing, or is it is it back?
You didn't use it. You've got your wire reel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she will shoot out.
It was an initial thing before combat, yeah.
Yeah, she'll shoot out her wiles. Wiles? She will shoot out her wires.
She'll use her feminine wiles to lure him in.
Yeah. She will shoot out her wires into the room to move up to them. And
ooh.
You know what's coming. As she moves into the room with assistance from her multitude of legs, I will activate crab legs, and I will use scissor hands on them.
All right, yeah, no, this is a fucking sick combo. So, to clarify for the audience, the multiple legs, the effect of them is that whenever you use a movement maneuver, you can activate an unarmed attack that you have, and that just so happens to be scissor hands. So this is all happening at rapid timing, thanks to you using that wire reel. That thing thuds into the wall beside them, and you just like drag yourself in, glinting steel in your hand as you bring it down on them. Make your attack.
Yeah, I have to move myself. I wish I could move others, but I have to move myself. But yes, it is unarmed attack 1. So is that just a raw D10, or is it a...
That is a raw D10 unless you have something in your passive skills that benefits your unarmed attacks.
Right, absolutely not. That's where I want to hit.
That is the legs.
Oh my god. You're gonna cut her legs off?
I'm cutting them off, dude. They're gone.
So, yeah, you watch, she is testing that leg, and you see them, like, do that, like, squat to, like, prepare for that leap, and all of a sudden, the fucking, like, is your wire reel, like, full grappling hook, or is it, like, kind of more like monofilament wire vibe?
If by monofilament wire you mean, like, really thin, like, razor wire, that kind.
Alright. Yeah, there is a sudden glint in front of Rye as they hear the slightest of, like, latches on the wall next to them. And then a taut pulling as the glint of the wires suddenly pulls tight, and Quoth is just, like, in an instant pulled into the room. The additional momentum and movement of these legs suspending Quoth, allowing her to fully command her body separately from concerning herself with the pitiable concern of commanding your legs. She just focuses purely on eyes on the prize. Those talons are going for the fucking legs. And yeah, you do you wanna describe how you take off those legs?
Yeah. As she rushes in, her claws glinting in the yellow light. They just slash through the thigh of Rye. The leg that she wasn't testing, the one that they weren't expecting to need to put pressure on. The one that they were putting pressure on normally just cutting through it in a claw mark shape as Quoth instinctively looks at them after they've done so.
Purgatory is where the dregs rest, sinners forgotten and life stolen pure, children and men who did not witness the hands of God.
So, Rye looks up as you're saying that, like, more concerned with scream, just like, God fucking damn it! As they're just grabbing both of their legs. They have not lost all of their movement options, as they do still have their shoulders to use.
That's valid.
Vex watches her legs being severed and shudders nostalgically.
Far too familiar for you. But it is at this point that I will... No, that takes place before, which means that they can no longer spend the 2 on the animal legs, right? Because they are now destroyed. That's no longer an option. Yeah. So, that is gonna have to be... they are gonna have to use their shoulder, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a 4 cost, or is it a 3 cost?
It costs more, yeah, I believe it's 4.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they drag themselves instead. Their nerves still, like, their nerves and their, like, adrenaline still, like, you know, fully on edge. They seem to just be working through stimuli at, like, double speed, as there is, like, there is that moment of, like, oh fuck, and it's in the middle of your poem that you, like, you're kind of like lost in it for a second, and then you look down and they're just gone.
Yeah.
She's just gone.
The trail of blood.
Yeah, it's just the 2 legs remaining here. As you see, Rye has brought themselves into, let me introduce the other effect. On this location, this is a choke point. Basically, any attacks that are going into the choke point have a -1. Any attacks that are going out of the choke point have a +1. And if you want to move through a choke point that has somebody occupying it, it is an additional 3 AP in order to muscle past them. Vex, it's your count.
Well, nice and simple, as now they are well and truly out of sight. Vex is just gonna start running to catch up, so I'll spend 3 to move here.
Okay. Could you make me a roll, please, with a +1 this time?
Oh boy.
Easy. Okay, yeah.
Oh my god.
You run into this room, and you realize that there is something intriguing. So this is a black marker rather than a white marker, because this is not an effect on the room. This is an object that can be noticed, or a point of interest, in essence, which is a crumbling floor. You look down the hallway where this kind of all kicked off, Vex, and kind of realizing, like, okay, it seems like this is starting to, like, wrap up, but you never know when you're gonna need, like, additional plans. You realize that you could probably break through that floor and essentially find a way to kind of, like, creep up on Rye from a different direction, considering that it looks like Rye has been bringing themselves around the corner into what looks like an apartment, or maybe some kind of, like, communal area, something like that. And you don't know what's in there. There could be more exits, there could be, you know, there could be any number of things waiting there. The crumbling floor could be your ticket into a pincer maneuver.
Gotcha.
Right. Next up is Rye. So, this is where we are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 as they drag themselves into the room. And you're like, okay, looks like we're going to be, you know, we're going to be pursuing them. Makes sense. as Quoth, you see, all of a sudden, the glinting of 2 pistols round the corner. I'm gonna add someone to the initiative. They have been holding their count until now, using the spine part.
Oh,
Bada boom.
Christ.
Okay.
So, they use a skill which allows them to use a weapon as use a shooting weapon as a rapid maneuver, which is what happens here. Okay.
I get to choose location.
You get to choose the location that this is landing, but this is going to be let me check. This is going to be a shooting attack 2. So this is 2 damage to a location of your choice.
So, if I were to choose my legs, I gain defend 1?
Yes.
So it would only do 1 damage?
Correct.
You could just do some entrails, too.
That's true. I could just choose my entrails. It's just, if it hits my legs, I am automatically defend 1. It's, pretty good. But, yeah, I could use those entrails for other things, I think. I will choose a bone.
And you know what? I just realized, actually, you now that I think about it, I forgot that they get the bonus from the choke point. I'm glad I have the choke point marker there, because that's what reminded me. That would have actually been a 7, which means that you don't have a choice. It is your legs.
It is my legs, yeah. Alright.
So, the pistol's round the corner, and all of a sudden you just hear the unloading of just Dante style from both of the pistols. And one quality is that if the attack hits, it has chain attack 1, so they get to make an additional attack with all of the normal effects and bonuses that it had before, which includes the +2. Okay, you get to choose on this one, for real this time.
For real this time. Yeah, this time I'll hit the body.
And that is 2 damage to your entrails.
Yep. My entrails, no.
All right, and yeah, you see as these, you feel as this hail of bullets suddenly just, it's just like a cacophony ringing down the hallway, in stark contrast to the singular, powerful shot that was unleashed by Vex. As several of your legs, kind of even inadvertently, are just interceding just by the nature of your movement, and there's just, you hear the ricocheting of ping, 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 as bullets are being summarily blocked by them, but nonetheless you feel one of your ankles get a bullet just straight in them, and another peppering of lead in your stomach. Nothing too serious, but it is damage nonetheless. And the two of you see, now stepping slightly into the orange light of these incandescent bulbs, I remembered the word for them, is a man in what you can only describe as... He looks like a survivalist who is strapped to the teeth with nothing but bullets, and he's wearing this gas mask that completely obscures any level of what they might look like as a person. They are totally covered head to toe, and the 2 pistols are smoking as you see this massive machine gun strapped to their back, which appears to be not an AK-47 or some kind of standard issue infantry machine gun, but it looks like it's been ripped off of a fucking emplacement. It is huge. It's belt fed. Yeah, it's like a turret machine gun.
Yeah.
As they regard you and just go, if you want Thry, you'll have to come through me. It is the 3 of you's joint count now. So what are you doing?
We get to know what he's doing, yes?
Yes, as well. He is going to be taking his machine gun and shooting the entire area that Quoth is in, because it is an area attack.
Alright, horrifying.
Vex's plan, she sees that there's this new complication, for sure, but rather than spend the several seconds it would take to catch up to Quoth, and just run into the hail of bullets herself, where this guy has a pretty good choke point set up. That's not usually how Vex does things. Instead, she is going to head for that crumbling floor and try to perform a pincer maneuver, trusting that Quoth will be able to handle this one in the meantime.
And what about you, Quoth?
Alright, yeah, I don't want to be in this room. I don't want to get attacked by all these guys. They're not even... by all these bullets. This guy's not even... who is this guy? I don't care. He's shooting me? That's not right, though. So... you know, I'm glad this costs 0 at base. Because we're gonna rocket back.
Alright.
And we're gonna just go to this room.
So, to clarify, Rocket Pack is normally a once per round, 0 cost, rapid timing, 1 to 2 move, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
It is a once per battle action. 1 to 2.
Once per battle
yeah,
action.
Once per battle.
Okay.
I'm using this now just so I can get through a doorway.
Okay. What does your rocket pack look like as you blast past him? Is it literally just the legs just like kicking into overdrive and like lightning fast pulling you in?
So I like to think that the rocket pack is sort of a threefold maneuver, right? Where it begins with her like, you know, shooting out wires to determine her location. Using the legs for, like, some initial force, and then there's just, like, pressurized air that gives her the boost, you know, that shoots out. So that she can, primarily so that she can go up higher, normally, but in this case, to chase down her target.
Yeah, there's 2 huge, like, air blasts that come out from the same systems that your legs use, and, like, all at once, they all, like, detach in order to allow you to take full advantage of that sudden burst of speed, and you blast forward as you watch him, like, recoil and partially brace himself to, like, stop you from entering, and you, like, fully collide with him. There is that struggle, and that the 3 cost comes in the form of, like, him literally, like, trying to, like, pin you against the wall as that happens, but there is just too many of your legs, too many... This just all happens so fast, and you just, like, wrench yourself through the doorway and into the same room. You see that this room, it looks like a fucking doomsday prepper. Has, like, outfitted this room, as you see...
Oh, this is the fucking guy, isn't it? I just realized.
As you see, there is a bunch of very volatile-looking material in this room, that looks very explosive. It is just piles of gunpowder, explosives, molotovs, just all the worst things you could possibly think of to keep in a single pile together. What this item is that this item will detonate if an area attack, an explosive attack, or a firearm attack is used in the same room as this item.
Oh, that's horrifying. Let's make sure their friend can't get out. I'm going to attack their friend at rapid timing.
You go for that, and it is at this point that I reveal one of the nastier parts of this mystery Doomsday Prepper's kit. He has a little skill called Anticipate, which is that I get to select a rapid damage or check timing maneuver and just tell you it doesn't happen.
That's a little fucked up. I'm not gonna lie, that's a
Now,
little fucked up. That's what most of my kit is.
It certainly is. That is why he's I don't know what to say. The guy is paranoid to the point of just thinking of everything. It's like it's it's a big deal. You watch, basically, you go for the strike, and like despite him having been like bested, you watch as like you raise your arm up, and he just like has essentially grabbed the butt of like the huge emplacement machine gun that he has and like forced it upwards so that as you try to bring your arm down, it is just like halted by your wrist meeting the barrel of the gun as he looks to you and just goes, "Not on my watch." Vex, at the same time, you are crushing through the crumbling floor, is that correct?
Yeah, so what do I need to do for that?
You just need to spend 2 in order to just get that effect. You attack the crumbling floor, meaning that it now disappears, and I reveal a new limbo zone. Okay. Yeah, so you spend the 2, that is revealed, and as part of this, you get to immediately move into there because you are falling through the floor.
Yup, I will do that.
I should mention, Quoth, because you did that simultaneously at the same time as this individual, you will just be eating, the machine gun shot anyway, as he essentially was firing. To further add to how fucking crazy this maneuver is, you are literally being fired at with an emplacement gun while this is going on.
Yeah.
Here it is with the +2. Oh, buddy, that is your arms.
That's where my arms are.
Now, granted, as an area attack, the main benefit of this thing is that it's an area attack. So this is otherwise just 2 damage. So 2 damage to your arms.
Him doing 2 every time is pretty rough.
It's nasty.
It does suck, but you have a couple of spare arm parts.
Yeah. I've got arm parts. That's fine.
Vex, it is you and Rai. Rai is just hanging out, none the wiser. And you realize as you fall through the floor, you see that there is basically like immediately a staircase up that would just take you up into like the adjoining area to this apartment, and thus into the same floor where everything is going on, thus allowing you to do a pincer attack through the neighboring walls.
Yes, I am going to try and explicitly be sneaky here, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna move into this adjoining area and start readying an ambush, basically, so that takes me to 0 to do that.
Yeah, Rai, with their animal ears still intact, hears what's going on over there, and, like, Quoth, you see that, like, despite you very much being, like, a big, important thing here, you see them glancing back, clearly, like, acknowledging that there is this pincer maneuver going on, and, I'm gonna make a roll here. I think Rai, like, senses what's going on, hears Vex coming up around behind you, and is going to, like, call out. Okay, just stop. Everyone just stop. Pietro, just stand down. I'm not going to let them take you. It's not a matter of that. Rai looks to the person you now know as Pietro, and just goes, we're not going to win this. And Pietro, like, struggling at this point and, like, trying desperately to keep, like, pinning your arm with the rifle barrel of this machine gun, just goes, "No, I've planned. We have backup plans. They're both dredges." He stops and looks to you, Quoth, and is just like, "I could blow us to Kingdom Come. We don't have to let them. There are people in the building. You know that. Stand down. Just let them take me. Vex, at this point, you manage to round the corner, and you do step into the apartment. As you do see all of these horrible fucking explosives and, like, guns and prepping material all over here. And you can judge pretty easily immediately, like, if that went off, it would have, like, it would take out so many adjoining living quarters. And the worst part is, you'd probably survive.
With no time to really think about that too deeply, she, all business, trots at a pretty quick clip into the room and puts one of her sights to Rye's throat.
You hear the thumping of that heart in her chest, and it's odd. Like, what a specific thing to have, considering everything. But they don't have the white hair, they don't have the white skin, normal eye color. It's probably just a separate thing. But Quoth, you see this kind of all go down. What's your reaction to this? As you can sense that Pietro is, like, not fully, like, giving up, and is kind of just, like, sitting there, like, kind of waiting to maybe have an excuse to get at you, or to blow you all to Kingdom Come. What is your reaction here? What do you do?
I think it's been a bit since she's had to actually fight for a target. Well, I think most of the time she gets people who don't usually fight back or aren't willing to blow up blocks of buildings. So she keeping an eye on Pietro, but addressing Rye.
The bat is to be kept alive and intact before delivery.
Before delivery, and what happens after that? What happens to Rye after that, huh?
The Raven doesn't question what happens to the packages, nor does she know.
He, like, very clearly there is this, like, tensing of, like, anger and upset as Rye, seemingly knowing this person, knowing Pietro well enough to know what that means, just goes, Pietro, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Even if I die, it is better than you, and it is better than everyone in this block. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. We aren't just toys to be used up. They think because we won't join one of their stupid gangs that we are lesser than them? That they can just take us away and do whatever they want? I made a stand for once, for God's sake. Just let them take me. Just keep doing what you're doing here. It's better. It's better than... There is a moment, and, like, you see that Rye starts crying as Pietro kind of, like, moves to get into the room. Did you let him, Quoth?
I think she would let them into the room, but I also think that as she moves over to Rye, her wires come out and grab the legs a few rooms over.
When Pietro comes in the room as well and properly sees Rye and Vex, she just, with her free scythe, points towards him. Weapons on the ground, or all of this really was for nothing.
He takes a second, he puts down the machine gun, he takes out the pistols and sets them onto a table, and then you see him reach around to, like, the back of, like, behind his jacket, and you see him pull out a string of grenades as well. And, kind of, like, eyes them for a second, very clearly considering, what if I just do it? And looks down to Rye and just softens and realizes it's not about that anymore. He sets them down, and then he just, like, goes down on his knees next to Rai and, like, has a just tender moment looking at them, and hugs them. There is goodbyes said before Pietro stands up and kind of looks to you, Quoth, and just goes, "You tell whoever hired you. You tell them that I am going to find them, and I am going to make sure that they hurt."
The Raven can accept this delivery.
He recoils a little, kind of surprised that you had such a, like, calm response, and just, it gives a little resolve of just like, hey, at least I have that. And I think just from there, you just take them. You take her. Your legs just kind of like, they go willingly, and your legs just kind of like wrap around and like essentially, I don't want to say swaddle, but definitely like cage them.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it depends on how she gets them most of the time, right? Whether or not they are grabbed in the legs, a sack that she has, or like wrapped up in wire, right? This time it's sort of just in the legs, while she carries the other legs, you know, Rai's legs.
It's as you pull away and you see Pietro standing in the doorway again, having like taken back up arms with his machine gun and standing there kind of like very solemnly just watching and taking the last few moments of eye contact with Rai, as, you know, and trying to remember it as much as he can. You realize, both of you, that as you are leaving, the gunshots and the commotion from earlier had stirred a number of people. And perhaps, Vex, for the first time in a while, you have been so used to gang dealings. And this is gang dealings in its own way, but dwellers had never really been on your radar, not in a big way. And for the first time, you're confronted with it. Because as you're leaving, there is these faces, these people leaning out of the cracks of their doorways, some of them fully leaned against their door frames as the doors are swung wide open into smoky rooms, as regular citizens, regular people, not dwellers, not enhanced, nothing, just people, are watching you take away someone that they know and someone who is protecting them. It doesn't take long after that to get to the delivery point. It's on the way home. You set down Rai in neutral zone territory, just west of Section C's borders, and a shady-looking individual, dressed plainly, accepts them and looks to you, and you see that they have these bright green eyes, and they themselves have this very like these very beak-like features, and hair kind of like sprawling over their face, like dark grey that you might mistake it for black during the night like it is now, or just in the shadows, and kind of like cascading in these like very light waves over his face as you deliver. And he just goes, expertly done. Your payment as promised. And just hands you a big stack of money, a duffel bag, basically. this was a very well-paying job. It's not like millions or whatever, or something insane like that. But like, if what you would normally deal in is like thousands, this was like at minimum like a 10K thing. This was beyond your normal paying rate. And you were handed this bag of money as you see this strange individual just like haul Rye up a little bit, and someone else kind of falls in from the shadows and picks them up, and just goes, "We may end up doing business again. Very much appreciated. And I assume that you had help. Must have been a tricky and slippery job."
Quoth nods and bows. As they're ending their exchange, she speaks up.
The Raven accepted an additional delivery during this time.
And a lot more flamboyantly isn't the word, right? As though she is reciting it, as though she has reworded Pietro's message as a poem.
The hunter protecting the hare will come to find the green-eyed shadow. What he seeks is harm and hurt, for it is your blood he must spill.
He kind of regards you as you do it, and just goes, "Well, we'll see if he has the mettle. Ta-ta," and turns around into the night.
She bows again.
This is standard fare for Quoth. There's always someone who cares about the target. There's always someone who is sad to see them go. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's just a shitbag. But it's hard not to have some relations. It's hard not to leave someone wanting. You've pulled people from the clutching and crawling and grasping arms of hysterical and emotional people before, and left as swiftly as you arrived. This is normal. This is what you do. Vex, how do you feel about this?
Well, this isn't as much her field of expertise, and while the situation is slightly different with the dwellers and everything else, the solution she finds is the same. Don't think about it too hard. And with a glazed, dark expression, she just watches these people go,